Welcome, my friends, on a beautiful, not rainy Monday afternoon. Last night when I went to bed, I watched the weather. They said it was going to rain on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
It looked a little scary this morning.
It did.
After a while, it turned out nice.
Yeah.
Humidity was good. June the 9th. What do you suppose happens on June the 9th?
Well, I know we got a public hearing tonight, and I made an effort to be here.
But you're not going to go.
Because I want to say a couple of things, Eddie. First of all, this will be the first public hearing that I've missed in 15 years.
15 years.
And
That's
I go
quite
there,
a record.
and I go there with the intention of hopefully to give some insight, not always negative, and not always positive. I try to say, hey, I use the term sometimes, think of the taxpayer. But I've watched this. I'm not going to make it there tonight because I'm having a difficult time with breathing and I can't stand too long. So I love this chair. I can sit here.
Yeah, you can sit here all night. We'll just sit here all
this
night.
is my public hearing.
This is your public hearing.
So anyways, I think the mayor's done a good job as far as the budget. I told him so. How's this? I saw him Saturday and I said to him, I thought he was more than kind to the school department and for the 12 or 13 new positions that he had left into that budget, and their budget's gone up 4.2%. Well, I happen to take this. The first of all is we're getting a new Wyman and Earl School. Somewhere, someplace, somehow. That's foregone. It's going to happen. So I felt the school committee was a little selfish in asking for all of these new positions. And I feel that. I feel that as a taxpayer, that they're a little selfish because when it's election time, it's going to be the city council and the mayor that are going to be held responsible for spending your money.
That's right.
And the school committee is...
They just submit a number.
That's all. And Alderman Concannon makes a comment that maybe I'll suspend the rules and go under the charter, and because the school committee, the mayor cut some job out. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a custodian. It was some type of a $53,000 job. And he says, I'll get the city council to put it back in. Mike, you got to do a little more study on the charter because you can't do that. No. If you try to do it, you only give them the money. You don't give them where they're going to spend it. Matter of fact, when they walk out of that City Hall with $52 million, you ain't got nothing to say about it.
That's right.
So, and I thought Ray Drapo, Chairman of Finance, I won't say he's lived that chair. I was Chairman of Finance for 6 years. Sometimes it gets boring, but I didn't like the prod to the school department or the superintendent to bring in, get your people here on the 9th. You didn't say that to the fire department. You didn't say that to the police department. No. You didn't say that to Public Works.
No.
But and we all know that there's quite a group that will attend that from the school department. It's been there before and it'll probably be there again. I used to see them come in and I said, ooh, there must be a bus stop here, you know. So anyways, I didn't like that, Ray, and I mean that. You should not be prodding people to be there.
That's right.
And I think Mike Anderson made a comment, and his comment was that he believes that we're heading for another recession. Now, I don't know that totally if it's going to be another recession, but I want to tell you this. People are still paying for their royal bills for the past winter and their gas bill. And go in and buy a gallon of milk and see it's almost $4. Buy bread, buy cheese. These are essential things that you need to live. See what your food prices are.
Food is up.
My wife tells me, and I give her so much every week to spend on food, she can't stretch it. It's unstretchable.
That's right.
She, you know, so I think that all of those things, Eddie,
are gonna have an
you
effect.
and I have seen a lot in our life.
Too much.
I just think the budget is a little heavy, and I know that I've talked to a couple of aldermen. They mean well, but I just hope that our taxes do not go up. So if you're home and you're watching this, you go to City Hall.
Yeah.
You get up at the public hearing and tell them what you think about a $130 million budget.
That's right.
And a school budget at 52, it's really 53 million.
Because if nobody goes, they think everybody's happy.
You know,
That's why.
Now the Woburn Times made a misprint the other day. They told you it was 33 million, but in the
it's
story
53.
it's 53 million.
That's right.
What happened to $20 million? It just
Yeah. Gordon
disappeared.
Vincent took it.
Yeah.
You gotta-
So
he
I
embezzled.
appreciate you giving me my 3 or 4 minutes. This is my public hearing. This is what I would have said if I went to the public hearing tonight. So I can sleep good tonight now. At least
Yeah.
I got my word
He got
out.
his word out. Well, one of
All
the
right.
other things that happened on June the 9th a few years back was that our operations manager here, Ms. Coleman, had a birthday. And today's her birthday.
June the
Now,
9th.
you can never ask any women, I don't care how old they are.
How old are you?
How old they are, because
Well,
that's an
what year was she
embarrassing
born?
thing.
We figured
So
it out.
I'd say she was stuck around 27, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
But we won't go into it too deeply.
June the 9th.
June the 9th. So
where were we?
congratulations to Lauren Coleman on her birthday.
Wow.
And there's another rumor she might be moving to Woburn too, from far, far away.
Oh, we'd like to have her here.
Yeah, sure. She'd be a good resident. All right. Cummings gave 100 people $100,000. That's one of his big deals. They do it every year. And one of our upstanding citizens, Greg Ahern, who's an executive over there at Cummings, gave his 100,000, or not his, but he has a voice to say, to the Tana-Tata, and they're going to receive
He
the
got
$100,000.
$1,000, right? And he gave it to the Tatas. Was it 1,000?
No, I think he gets 100,000.
He does?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Well, I don't know if he gets it personally, but they vote on it. I think they give
Okay.
100. What would that be? 100,000. 10 100,000 is $1 million.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so I did that. Something wrong there.
Yeah, but
Anyway, he gave it to Tana-Tata. How much they got? It was more.
And his picture was in Burlington. He did something for Burlington. I think he bought.
Yeah, it was in the paper.
Didn't he buy some police mobile vans for the police department to
This year?
Cummings, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think the total grant, Eddie, the total thing was about 10 million that he gave out to various
Yeah,
things.
it must be. It
Yeah.
says 100,000 for 100 programs.
Yeah, so I think Hearns probably is.
Even if they got
Yeah.
$50,
Well,
they'd
hey,
be happy.
Whatever they
Yeah,
got,
whatever
and
he
so
did.
he got it and he turned it over to
Yeah,
them.
that's right.
Congratulations.
He's on the board that gives away the Cummings money, and that's good.
Greg, congratulations, and that's a well thought out thing.
That's right. Although we had graduation day Sunday, it was a
Yeah.
perfect day.
I had a grandson. I graduated, Eddie, and
Really,
he's going to University of Lowell,
beautiful.
and he's a good kid, and I wish him well, and I hope he makes me proud.
They got to, they go to school. They got to learn these jobs. All these new jobs are way beyond my comprehension.
Yeah.
It's all,
Yeah.
I
technology.
guess if all you have to do is own a phone. If you get one of them big smartphones, you can watch a movie on there. They told me.
And you can be sitting in your what? You could be sitting down in Aruba and doing your
yeah.
work. If
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
calls you, how's everything? Good. Stuck in traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
But those are the kids that invent all that stuff, all that kind of stuff. And you say, well, they can't do it, but they do it. So they go to universities in engineering and they take up computer sciences and all this stuff, and they learn how to do all that intricate stuff. It's almost impossible. When you think of, first of all, they didn't have TV when we were young.
We had one of the first TVs in Burlington, 1948.
You stared at
I stared at the test pattern and waiting for Howdy Doody to come on.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
exactly right. So
Yeah.
now, and then you got to a point where, as you got a little older, you had to get up and turn the station.
Oh, my father would say, put it on
Put it
7.
on seven. The best thing they ever invented was
the
the
clicker.
clicker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now, there's so many stations, you could be clicking forever.
Yeah.
You can't go around and find out all the stations.
Like
My wife says, put it on the preview. Put it on the preview. I said, I go click right
Yeah.
on.
I watch something, Eddie, and I'll hit, and then I want to see the Red Sox, and I jump back and forth.
Yeah.
Last station goes back to Red Sox. Oh,
right.
geez, I lose it. I come back to the other station.
I was doing that last night. I was watching basketball on one and the Red Sox on the other.
Yeah.
But then I fall asleep, so it doesn't make no difference. The city council is not ready to increase ambulance rates. Now, the article in the paper, I thought was a little bit complicated.
It was.
Because this ALS1, ALS, I don't know what those things mean. But if you want to go for ALS1 ride, it costs $2,000, around $2,000. And if you want to go for ALS2 ride, it costs $2,800. So I say, if they take you from Woburn to Winchester, it costs a couple of grand. If they take you to Boston, maybe it costs $3,000. Something like that. A lay clinic costs that much.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the difference is, unless it's the quality, the quality or the education or whatever of the firemen or the people on the ambulance.
You kind of hit this a little bit too, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, because you thought the chief tried to explain that this amount of money might pay for some equipment.
That's right.
They'd get a new fire truck or this and that. And most of you, probably 99.9% of the ambulance ride is covered by insurance.
Right.
You know, some type of insurance, whether it's Medicare or this and that. And I think the city council said, we're thinking, well, you may get a free ride, but your insurance is going to go up. You know, the insurance will, who knows what our insurance is going to be on January the 1st of next year? Nobody. Nobody knows what our rates are going to be and whether we're going to be able to have the same doctors we have. We're kind of in a limbo state.
So I don't understand the part where he left $2.7 million on the table because they can't collect it or something.
Yeah, uncollectible.
Yeah, that's not, can't be in 1 year. If they pick up $300,000 in a year,
I would say
that's
over
like 10
years
or something.
But you know.
But anyway, the city council, they don't want to be the highest around now, so they're going to cut back a little bit maybe. And so they can be not the high. They don't want people running around and say, don't get hurt in Woburn, it costs too much to take an ambulance.
Yeah.
If I call an ambulance, I don't care if it costs $1 million. I just want the guy to show up.
If he can get you to the hospital.
Get me to the hospital.
Yeah,
we'll worry about that tomorrow. We'll worry about the bill tomorrow.
At that particular time, money is no object.
No, and I think that's the way everybody looks at it too. All right, we're going to have big problems now. We got enough. We've had a year's worth of Main Street construction in the city of Woburn, which is not going to be done probably this year, maybe next year. But I think things are going along pretty good as far as our side is concerned. Now Winchester's going to start doing their gas work, and they're going to hot top from the center up to
us.
So that if you can stay away from Main Street at all. Now, I don't know, people from the west side or people from Northwood probably don't know, but I live on Vernon Street, so I go over the golf course. I can't get across Main Street, so I go down Vernon, down Green, over Garfield, down Fowl Street, so I can get to a place near Main Street where I can go right across the Lake Avenue and go through, because it's a pretty.
I think they got this section done now, Eddie. Up to where the big white church is all done. So that's all done, and now they'll start grinding at the other end. I don't know if they're going to come in from the other end, and then eventually they're going to have to do around the common and in front of it. So, but the work that's being done.
And they did. Now they got Montville Avenue.
Is it all done?
Yep.
The work that's being done it's good work. You know.
They got Wood Street all done. Geez, the hot top companies are making money anyway. I don't know if they're making a lot, but pretty good.
It's good work, and hopefully now the streets will stay in decent shape for at least a number of years.
Yeah. So if you live in Winchester, stay off of Main Street. That's the main part of the whole story. Now, this Donovan kid that's the dog officer, he's been on the horn every month or so because people continue to leave food out, and bird feeders are one of the worst things you can have. I mean, but you got to feed the birds. People want to feed the birds, feed the birds. People throw bread out for the birds, goes on the lawn. This is what attracts the animal. People are complaining about coyotes and a fox. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to get involved with a gaggle of turkeys, because the turkeys are pretty big. You know, they start pecking at you, boy, you'd be running down the street.
I get
And
some
I
around
think
me.
things like that, but he's talking to people who aren't listening. Because I walk around a pond once in a while, and I saw a guy there one day near where the gazebo, where the flatbed truck is for the band, and I said, you know, there's a sign right there that says don't feed. He said the kid, his little kid, grandson or something. He said he likes to feed him. I said,
Feed the
I said,
duck.
I'm not going to get in a fight with you, but the sign says don't feed them. You know, please don't feed them. But people do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I think we got to stop doing that in order to see if we can keep from having any problems relative to foxes and coyotes and turkeys and such. The Woburn Historical Commission. This is a good story. 184 Salem Street was a Sears and Roebuck's mail order house.
Yeah, I never knew that.
About $1,000 you could buy that house.
Yeah. Did you know that before
No.
that? I read that story. I didn't know it.
I didn't know that. It's a stucco house.
And I didn't know that you could order, in the original Sears and Roebuck's, you could order a house.
Yeah, in the catalog. Yeah, I
in
knew
a
that.
catalog, you
I
did.
knew that, yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why I knew that, but I think like, right, they start, I don't know when they stopped doing it, but I think like during the war out in the West, in places like Iowa where the land was flat, people were just ordering those houses for $1,000. They were just building them one after the other.
we had, a lot of people will remember this, and there's some that say, I didn't know that. Sears and Roebuck's is right in Woburn Center, right where Boyle Insurance, where the parking lot is.
That's right.
And I remember
I bought my first
10
TV there.
10 or 11 years old, went downstairs, the old oil floors, all the bicycles were downstairs, and I bought a Swin bike. Well,
They fix
my
your
father
shoes
bought it.
right in there. While
Yeah.
you sat in your socks, they fix your shoes.
Wasn't that something at that store?
They had one of them machines you put your feet in and you could look down and see the toes and all that, the x-ray
Yeah.
machine like.
It was really, it would remind you probably today, if you ever see an Army and Navy store someplace, down in Newport there's one, and down the Cape there's one, and if you walk through there, that was Sears and Roebuck's. I mean, they had everything but the kitchen sink. I think they did have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you could go in town and with that big building there,
Yeah,
Fenway Park.
by Fenway.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah. Sears and Roebuck's.
Sears and Roebuck's. What happened to them?
I don't know.
Now they got everything in there. They sell all kinds of stuff now besides Sears stuff.
Burlington still has theirs right at the mall. Yeah, Sears and Roebuck's.
All right, Hurld-Wyman, they're going to have another meeting Thursday. If you've got nothing to do on Thursday, go down to City Hall. They're going to have another meeting. I'm sure Grillo will be there. I think Brian's talking
cover it.
about, but he might come in again next week for a couple of minutes. He just wants, I think he just likes to come in and keep his crew active as far as picking the site, because if I read the article in the paper closely enough, the property he's on there with the farm stand is looking better and better all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know whether the lot's big enough to keep the farm stand there. Besides, I don't know. I don't have any opinion.
They need 4 acres, so a minimum of 4 acres. So they've kind of backed off on the old school, which I don't know if I totally agree with that lot. And they backed off on Wyman because of the water that's there. So you got.
Well, you got it backwards.
With the church.
You got it back. They get up for Wyman because it's old and congested,
Yeah.
and the Hurld because of the water. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
water. And the Wyman is not 4 acres.
No.
It's too small. Right. So.
Now you got the other. You got the
Where the church, the Mormon church was going to go, and
you don't want to buy no land.
I'm against buying land.
Okay.
So
what's that left?
Well, it's either the farm stand or it's got to be the Hurld School site, And if the Hurld
all the land it's on the other side of the street. All that land is spoken for. It's all under options,
Where's that?
Right where the rest of the farm is.
Oh, yeah, that's gone. I mean, there's
It's
nothing.
all gone.
Yeah.
All the way down to.
Yeah, it's gone. There's no more left. Yeah,
Jeez,
so I still lean, if you said, what would you lean to? It's gotta be A or B. A, it's either the Hurl or the farm stand, or B, it's the Hurl or the farm stand.
Yeah.
Either one, and hey, I am not the one that has to make the decision.
No, I'm not either.
And I'm glad I'm not,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't wanna buy land. I'm against buying a piece of property. When you have that property, that doesn't make too much sense to me.
No.
The building's gonna be probably 16, 17 million anyways, 18 to build
Oh,
it.
yeah, more than that
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
you know, so.
75,000. These are big buildings they're talking about. 75,000 square feet is what I heard. Okay, City Council opinions vary on assisted living in East Woburn. Now, if you remember, this was about during the winter. We talked about this. This is that land over on Washington Street. It's on the triangle between Cedar Street and Salem Street. There's a piece there, 4 or 5 acres. I don't know how many acres is there. Maybe 10 acres.
No, I
don't
think
know.
there's, I'm gonna say 11.
It's a good. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
9 to
sounds
11.
good, 9 to 11.
Yeah.
So that's a good sized piece of property. Now, so I just want to clarify one point. During the winter, when they were talking about building assisted living, the city council changed the zoning, but that's all they did was change the zoning so that the assisted living place could go there, or a residential neighborhood could go
Yeah,
there.
R1, it was R1, they changed it to R3.
Yeah.
That would allow this assisted living proposal.
Right.
Now the assisted living has to go through the following thing: planning board, city council approval, special permits, and it also has to be approved by the conservation, because there's a brook there. And if you're within 150 feet of a brook, the conservation has to approve.
That's right.
So they've got
They got a long way to
a
go.
long
yeah.
way to go.
Yeah.
But I listen to it, Eddie, as watch it. You people cover it here, which I think is excellent. And I'd give it a 70-30, maybe 80-20, that it's going to become a reality.
Passing that by, yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's a lot of units there. 80, I think it was 87. units.
87.
Yeah, that's a lot of units.
You know.
And then well, all these things are going to come out. I just want to let people think about it, because what happens is they think that the work is done and they
Yeah,
got a permit
yeah.
and they're going to be
Yeah,
over there
it's
cutting the
a-
trees
it's a done
down.
deal.
Yeah, it's
It
not.
isn't.
It's
No,
so far
no,
from
no.
being a done deal.
No.
You know, so then now the work starts at the city council and all the other boards to get it done. That's right. Unbelievable. I'd be kind of disappointed with that lot goes, because I thought
Yeah.
having that one house on that whole,
Yeah.
you know,
They used to
you
have
could
a pretty good little farm there.
Yeah, you could have a
know.
cookout in the backyard, nobody
Yeah,
would bother you
yeah.
there, boy. All right. What about the Northeast Metro Vocational School earned state funds? Now, Paul and I just discussed this a little bit, and I don't care about the state funds. Just talk about people who are on the school committee, our school committee person, and if you read the article, how much does it cost for Chelsea to send a child?
$4,000.
$4,000 for a child from Chelsea to go to the Wakefield Vocational School. And how much does it cost for a Woburn kid?
17,000 plus almost $18,000.
Now, that formula got to be redone.
It definitely has to,
So-
and that would be something that I would hope that
The 30th Middlesex guy?
state representative, and we have Joe Demers now, which is the state representative's right hand.
Yeah.
He's sitting on the school committee.
Committee.
I would think that formula should be looked at, because I don't have any. I don't want to take up a fight with Chelsea, but 4,000 to almost 18,000, it just doesn't. You know, we're talking about tipping the scale. My God, you know, give us a little break. And they want to build a new school.
They're building a new school, yeah. So that's another, that'll be $100 million for the new school if they tear the other one down. Even if they rehab the other one, it costs a lot of money to build a vocational school. They have to have a certain way, because they're over there teaching these kids trades, electricians, plumbers, and all that kind of
I
stuff.
represented Ed Gilgun over there, Eddie, when he was mayor. I was on the city council, and he didn't make the we'll call it the grand opening of ribbon cutting. And Ted Kennedy was the keynote speaker.
Really?
Yeah, and I did. I enjoyed that day. I knew there was quite a few people that worked there from Woburn, and also Bud Conley was on the school committee for a
Bud
while.
Conley, yeah.
And then, Marilyn was on the city council with me. Finithy. He was on there for a while. He was a carpenter, a woodworker. He was on the committee. What happened there is, we used to vote for our representative right here. Now they changed another formula that got changed through the mix, and it had to be through the legislator. I feel it had to be. Now you can vote for the representative from Wakefield. You can vote for the guy from Revere.
Oh, that's right. They changed that,
and it doesn't make any sense to me. The last ballot, if you remember the last ballot, you got 12 names on there from the vocational school. The whole ballot didn't have 12 names on it.
Yeah.
You know, for all the other offices. But the Voc school got 12. It doesn't make sense to me. I want, Mrs. Davis.
Each
town should have their rep. Like we had that.
Yeah, we had
Bud
that.
Conley and Mr. Finity and Joe Catano.
Yeah.
I can name some of them that came from. Tom Shaughnessy was a
on
representative. What sense does it make that you vote for somebody from Everett or Chelsea? I don't understand. That's another change.
But it's a pretty quiet operation over there. You never hear anything except at budget time. And I agree, that's a little bit out of whack. I'm sure they'll come up with some kind of an explanation that Chelsea has been getting whacked for the past, since the state took it over, you know, they were in bankruptcy. But, I mean, I think the city of Chelsea has made a big comeback since then.
$18,000, Eddie, that's a college education.
That's right.
I mean, if you had, right now.
In a public school.
Well, in a school, let's go to UMass. You wouldn't pay $18,000 to go to UMass.
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting thing. But like you say, Brother Dwyer and Joe Demaris, I'm sure they're going to hear a lot about that. They'll probably be experts on that subject before the thing is through.
In their budget, in that, just that one school, our formula raised at 25%.
Yeah, that's another school.
You know,
yeah,
25%, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I don't understand. Well, see, I don't know, they don't explain it properly. How you get 25%, we go up 25% and we pay 4 times, we pay for, 300% more than Chelsea.
Yeah.
How much did Chelsea's go up? Chelsea must have went down.
Well, maybe they got a minus.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know.
But we'll visit that again, so we'll do a little homework on that one maybe. Draper Street Solar Firm gets okay to move to East Woburn. Right now, this Vintech, I don't know how you pronounce it, Vintinct or something like that, Vintin, and they're over by where Charette used to be now, and they're renting spaces there, but there's probably not enough because they put a lot of panels on a lot of houses.
Have you seen them?
Yeah.
Did you do yours?
No.
I didn't do mine either.
So that's an interesting thing. I know people who have. I think if your house is if you have electric heat, which not a lot of people have, but if you got an electric dryer, an electric stove, and air conditioning, and you could look at it, and it's a pretty good deal. Your bill will come right down. You still have to pay, I think, like 20% of what the original cost is.
Yeah.
And they come and bing, bang, boom. They do it in the morning. They could cover your house with all the things. And done very, very well. I talked to 3 or 4 people who had it done. And the city electrician, what's his name, King?
I think it is King.
Yeah. And he's right on top of that thing. So they inspect them all. They have the building department go up into the roof and the inside to make sure that they're attached to the rafters, not just go through the roof, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll be blown away and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a fly-by-night operation. I think they're out of New Jersey. But since the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has promised somebody somewhere that we're going to have so much of our electricity produced by solar and all this other stuff, water and fans and all the rest of it, then it's a good deal.
I just, I don't know why. It didn't excite me.
No, it didn't excite me either.
You know, so.
I say, sell me, I want the money from these, if you sell it to the, if you're selling the extra juice.
Yeah.
But they
Sell
don't.
back. Sell it back,
apparently
they'll
they really don't
reduce
do
your
that,
bill.
yeah. I said, I'll take a little piece of that if you want.
Yeah.
They said, oh, no, we don't do that.
Send you a little bonus
Yeah,
check.
we don't do that though. All right, Draper Street. So they're moving anyway from over by Charette. They're going to move over here to East Woburn to Mrs. Brune's territory. And she just wants to make sure. She always has to make sure. So I got to make sure. I want to make sure. Every permit she wants to give out is for a year.
Yeah, and you know, let me say this to you. First of all, nobody's going to invest that type of money in whether it buying the building to have a permit for a year. They got to go to a bank, borrow money. A bank's going to say, 1 year, I'm going to give you $250,000 for 25 years, and you may be gone in a year.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It won't. It just won't happen. First of all, I think it's even to suggest that it's unconstitutional. I don't think that you can put that stipulation on a permit saying 1 year. Now, if you get a special permit in Woburn, the city council has all the laws that they need. If they're not happy with you, they can call you back at any time. It can be 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Can be
take
3
the
years.
permit away.
We bring you up and say you're supposed to have 7 trucks and you got 11. They can do that at any time, So
We should go, me and you should go get a car
and drive around
and
and check.
go down and check all the
Special
special
permits.
permits. And they could pay us for checking on them.
And how many you think would find that?
Whoa!
Oh,
Which way? You mean the guy that got a special permit 17 years ago, where's his dumpster?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Where's his dumpster
It's true.
located?
It's
yeah,
true.
you couldn't do it.
You know.
But I mean, they never had a person. I never had city council does not have an employee.
No.
You know, I suppose the clerk could be considered an employee. But, you know, that's one of the crazy things about it, you know, because they put on 73 restrictions on your special permit.
Oh.
And you go out the door and no one is ever going to check.
I have had some, let me be honest, and I'm trying to. I had some special permits that were given over the years, not as an elected official, but as a good, knowledgeable person trying to help a businessman or even a homeowner. And if the restriction was put on there, I would say,
Forget it.
now you might say, you can't do that.
No.
Well, I suppose I can't do it, but I did it. So if you want to come and get me,
Yeah.
come and get me.
It would be an interesting test on this. On we would, of course, it'd be an argument for another day. But I mean, it would be an interesting test on a special permit. I mean, I think people like John McElhaney, former attorney in the city of Woburn, and Joe Tarby.
Yeah.
In the olden days, Joe Day.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Joe Cowan.
All of those guys
Yeah.
that came before the city, made a living
Yeah,
before the city
the
comes.
Mons.
They know,
Yeah, they know.
that that's just a lot
Yeah.
of, you could put the Bible on there. They you know, go out the door. Once you go out the door with that permit, no one is ever gonna go and see if you put a chain link fence around your dumpster.
No,
No.
it's not going to happen. So
And snow removal, don't put the snow over here or over there.
what are you going to do? God put it there.
Yeah,
There
let
was a
God-
mayor that said,
yeah.
God put it there, God
Yeah.
will take it away.
All right. Off New Boston Street, I'm not exactly sure where, but Lawless earned an okay.
Up towards
to
the end,
put-
Eddie, up towards the end. But
Way
no,
up
but
the end
yeah,
near the
yeah.
fertilizer factory?
Yeah, up in there. And this is something that,
This is related to Chambers now, Herb Chambers.
No,
because
this
look
is
at-
Law-
no,
this
I
is
know it's
Lawless.
Lawless,
But
but
you-
this
but-
is the same
Oh.
problem here. They all got the same problem.
you again, like some people might say, well, what? I got enough cars stored. These dealerships, under some type of obligation from the manufacturers, evidently,
gotta buy 'em
They
now.
got to take those cars.
Remember Ernie
And
Block used
go-
to say, I sell them
Yeah.
cheap because I own them.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody owns them. They all
It's
own 'em.
unbelievable the number of cars that are stored by these dealerships. I mean, I'm telling you. So, and you and I can drive to Boston and say there's too many cars on the road. We'll go over and look at all the ones we got
Yeah.
stored.
They're stored
You
all
know?
over the place. They are.
You know, I don't know. I suppose the city council if you give to one, do you give to all?
Yep.
I guess that there's some rationale for that, I guess. But it's up in an industrial area. It's not going to bother anybody.
Our Suburban Chamber Speaker, John Tierney, what's he doing in Woburn?
Well,
Because he represents what,
Well,
Wilmington?
No, he spoke in Burlington, I think, at the hotel in Burlington.
Was he the rep from Burlington?
I think he has Burlington, yes. But he has he comes down to Essex and Beverly
he's at
and that way.
Gloucester and all the way up to the Newburyport.
But the North Suburban Chamber of Commerce is located in Woburn. I mean, their main office is on Wynn Street. Now, the North Suburban Chamber of Commerce was Woburn's chamber. We had a chamber here in the mid-'70s. And when a group of businessmen wanted to, we'll call it regionalize, a group of businessmen said no, and that's how the Woburn Business Association got started, to stay strictly in Woburn. So the North Suburban went out, and I think they have 10 or 11 or 12 communities. They have Bedford and they have Burlington, and that's why you'll see a lot of activity from them dealing with Hanscom, 128 and Route 3. You know, they get involved in that where it doesn't really affect us, but we get involved in 93 and 128. So,
now this guy, Tassay is running against him out of Wakefield.
and he's got a veteran running against him too on the Democratic side.
Oh yeah?
Tassay came close 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it's hard to beat an incumbent congressman. Yeah. It's got to be the toughest thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, they know what they got.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the fact that you get involved in all that gambling.
Yeah, off street betting. Offshore.
Yeah.
That was his brother-in-law, I think.
Yeah. But he slid by there.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I don't know much about him, but you know, he must be a pretty good constituent.
Been around, I think, Eddie, what I'm going to say between 14 and 16, 18 years. You know, been around.
Yeah.
Not a bad job being a congressman.
No.
You know.
I wouldn't mind being a congressman myself. All right, last but not least, letters to the editor. Benches are popping up like weeds by Nancy Ciccini. Now, Nancy Ciccini has written letters before about certain items, and I think they're all pretty well written. He has an opinion, and I think it's well taken. I think there's a little humor in there, the difference between the weeds and a bench.
Yeah.
And if she was 12 feet tall instead of 5'8", she'd be able to jump off from bench to bench and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a little kind of a crack at the alderman. And I don't know Rosa DeTucci. I've interviewed her 2 or 3 times. We interviewed her at the pond, maybe not on a bench, I don't think. We were sitting on a bench with our little chairs.
The hill, you at the hill at the clap.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still, you know, you can't, you've got to think it over, you know? I mean, like she says, do you want that flatbed truck there while everybody's sitting down there in July and August and the band's playing, and instead of having a gazebo, how many nights a year you're talking about? You know what I mean? It's not a big deal, and I don't know that the benches are a big deal, but she doesn't like it, so therefore she speaks up.
You know, I suppose it's like, it's another one that you might say pluses and minuses, and you have to weigh the pluses against the minuses. I've gone to those concerts down there. I've gone to them when there was different music, you know, Irish people, the Irish step dances and other ones, and it has been somewhat of an enjoyment for me. You know, I sat in the car, listened to it because there's no really much seating.
Yeah.
They have the flatbed.
Yeah.
A gazebo wouldn't bother me. You know, it wouldn't bother me as an individual, and I suppose the people across the street, you know, whether they don't want it or they want it, some I guess don't want it, but if you're going to have the flatbed there and you're going to have the music there, you know, why? Why wouldn't you want to have a gazebo? I look at the one in Wakefield.
Dress it up a little bit.
You know, it's...
You remember, okay, there was one on the Parkway when we were kids.
The old wooden one, it's gone, okay. That's down.
Now, did you ever go to, I can remember one of my cousins, I think she had to go downtown from West Woburn. And she said, I'll take Eddie out for a walk. So you gotta go see your boyfriend. So hook me along. I was probably about 8 or 10 years old. We went down to the Parkway. There were a lot of people there. And it must have been the city band, I would think. So I don't know, I'd have to do some research, and you'd have to find out how successful that was, because then that thing just deteriorated to nothing.
Well, it's a different era, different time. People didn't have much entertainment, except for that type of entertainment. Right. There was just a radio, if you were lucky to have a radio. So that type of entertainment was.
Then we built the one in Library Park.
Yeah,
that never was a success.
Carl Torres built that. Yeah. Gene English at one time checked out the one that was down on the Parkway. We were going to try to move that and put it in Library Park. It was gone. It was just.
But I mean, it's a beautiful. We did a show there with Gaffney, remember?
Yes.
We sat up.
Yes, we did.
Thing. But I mean,
doesn't get the use.
No, it doesn't get the use. No. I don't know why, but they don't seem to use it.
Well, because now, let's say tonight, let's say there was going to be a concert at Horn Pond, you said, well, let's move it at the library. You got softball. Yeah. You know, those fields are busy. Yeah. And so it needs its own location. How's that?
But I mean, and then we went to the busy bend.
Yeah.
With the and
close
a little outside entertainment.
Yeah.
Proved that you could, if you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the next generation, you go down the pond, build a nice gazebo there, or whatever, however they want to do it, and a nice sound system, so you can go down there and be entertained.
Yeah.
So it's just like it grows along, because I think. If you get a nice situation, I think people will use it. It'll be good.
You know, to me,
that trailer has been how many miles is on that trailer? Used to go on the Halloween parade, or they used it to sit. They used to sit on it.
I think that's a trailer that we picked up that gangplank in the Boston Navy Yard, brought it out here from the end of Wright Street.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
They used to sit up on there. The mayor, they say, "I hope he falls off." Not Scott, but some other guy. The bands would be going by, they'd be saluting. Oh, God. That trailer has been a lot of miles on it, even in the city of Woburn. Well, Paul, my last question before we get out of here is, how many signatures have you got?
Well, let me say this here. One of the lead spokesmen is Scott Harshberger now.
That's right, Scott.
He's against casinos, and he was on Fox this morning doing a little commentation. He talked about Grossman. He thinks Grossman's gonna clean Martha Coakley's clock at the convention. He got Grossman coming in a strong first. She may slip to second or third.
Really?
He didn't get into the casinos too much because we're waiting for the Supreme Court of the Commonwealth.
Make a decision.
But Friday of this week, they're going to issue one for Springfield, a license. But my understanding is they can issue the license, but they're not going to build anything until they see.
Until somebody say, yeah, it's the same thing. The bank's going to say, wait, time out.
Now, also this morning, I'll give you the percentages. If you took this about 2 months ago, or a little longer, 3 months ago, it was like 50-something in favor of casino and 38 or 39 against. This morning, it's 54 in favor of casinos being eliminated. 54% don't want them, and 36% wants them. Now, that's this morning at Fox News. So
now, what happens periodically? There was an article in yesterday's paper, Sunday's paper. Periodically, what happens when these things get it on a roll, like you got this one on a roll with your signatures and stuff. So what happens then? The legislature begins to pay attention. So they'll do something to head off it coming on the ballot. So they'll be interested to watch what the legislature does.
But let me say this here. We've got some strong legal. We've got an ex-district attorney and an ex-attorney general.
Yeah.
You think that he's going to allow you to pull any shenanigans? No, sir.
No, sir.
So you better watch out, because we've got a lot of eyes out there.
All right, let's go home.
Hey, you
Next
didn't do
time.
no weather.
What do you
so-
want to do? Oh, geez,
Huh?
yeah.
You want to do a little weather?
Yeah, what's the weather? Yeah, put that weather up here. I want to see
You're
that
gonna
weather.
golf
This
Wednesday?
weather's perfect. Look at
Beautiful.
that.
Look at this.
Yeah, you know where
Eddie.
that weather is?
Yeah.
In
We're
Los
Los Angeles. Holy jeez. Oh my God. Oh.
Every day.
We gotta-
Every day the sun's
Oh,
out.
look at this.
Nice
Los
job.
Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, I thought that was right here.
We talked
said
about this afternoon in our pre-show discussions.
Yeah.
And the one for Massachusetts, Woburn, is all clouds and lightning and rain and all for the rest of
the whole week.
Yeah, for the whole week. So we said, let's change it to something good. I'll put up Los Angeles. The sun's out there all the time.
Hey, listen, good night. If you're out, if you want to stand up for your rights and talk about your city, go to City Hall. 7 o'clock is the public hearing on the budget. I held mine here.
That's right.
And
We know
so,
exactly where you're coming from, too.
hey, good night.
Good to see you, brother.
Good night.
Next time.